ready to unlock those wild imaginations. Let's dive right in. Whoosh. Today, we're all about giving those creative sparks a boost. We're going to explore how even the simplest things, like, encouraging play or just letting kids be kids, can make a world of difference.
And you'd be surprised what we discover along the way. Sometimes those obvious tips have some pretty amazing science backing them up.
Speaking of simple but powerful, our first note here is all about those toys and materials that really stimulate a child's imagination. What comes to mind when you hear that word stimulate?
Stimulate. It makes me think about what actually gets those creative gears turning, because it's not just about handing them any old toy. I mean, a kid might be totally fascinated by a really realistic toy fire truck,
Oh, yeah. And
but it's already a fire truck. They're mostly going to imitate what they already know about fire trucks, right?
whereas if you give them like a big cardboard box,
Now you're talking. Suddenly, that box, it could be a rocket ship blasting off, a towering castle, a submarine exploring the depths of the ocean.
I love that.
That's what we mean by open-ended toys. And there's actually been some really cool research on this. The University of California, they did this study and found that even short bursts of play with these kinds of toys, like even just 15 minutes a day.
With 15 minutes, that's it.
Yep, that's all it takes. It can actually lead to get this, a measurable increase in a child's creative thinking skills.
Wow. 15 minutes. Even on the busiest day, you can find 15 minutes. Makes you wonder why we don't, like, bottle that open-ended magic, huh?
Well, funny you should say that, because in a way, we can bottle it. And that leads us right into our next point. Allow unstructured time. It's like we're giving their minds that same open-ended freedom, letting them wander, daydream. Those are good things.
It's so true. I mean, nowadays, we're so used to scheduling every single activity.
Yeah.
So to even consider, like, not scheduling, it feels almost counterintuitive. But there's actual science behind this, isn't there?
Absolutely. I mean, studies have actually shown that when our minds are allowed to just wander, to make these connections without any sort of specific goal, that's when some of those big aha moments happen.
Those creative breakthroughs.
Exactly. Like the brain's playing its own little open-ended game.
And what better fuel for those creative sparks than with stories, right?
Yeah.
Getting lost in a good book. It's right here in our notes. Read imaginative stories. I bet you've got a few favorites you'd love to share.
Oh, for sure. And the cool thing about stories is, well, there's a couple things actually. I mean, not only do they ignite a child's imagination, but they also help build empathy.
That's huge.
Right. Just think about it. When a child really connects with a character in a story, especially one who's facing a challenge, they're kind of like stepping into that character's shoes, getting to experience the world from a whole new perspective.
It's like those stories are also building blocks, but for like their emotional intelligence.
That's a great way to put it. And that's going to serve them so well throughout their lives. It'll impact their relationships, how they interact with the world.
It all comes back around. And speaking of things that serve us well, celebrating those leaps of imagination, it's just so important. And you specifically mentioned this. Celebrate their ideas. Show appreciation for their creative expressions. But how we do that, well, it really matters, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It makes all the difference. It's like, are we praising the outcome? Oh, wow, you're such a talented artist. Or are we praising the process? Wow, you used so many colors in that painting. Tell me about it. Tell me about this creature you invented. Focusing on their effort, the choices they made. That's what really encourages kids to keep exploring and expressing themselves. So true. Because it's not just about the destination. It's about celebrating that messy, creative journey. Which, speaking of journeys, leads us to our final stop. And this one is always so fun to talk about because it's like we get permission to be kids again, join in their play.
And what a gift that is.
Yeah.
Not just for them, but for us, right? Because when we as adults engage in imaginative play,
Yeah.
we're not just bonding with the child, but also modeling that creative thinking. We're showing them, hey, imagination, that's not just for kids. It's a muscle we can all strengthen.
Exactly. It's never too late to tap back into that sense of wonder. So there you have it. Those are just a few simple yet incredibly powerful ways to nurture that amazing imagination that all children have. If you had to pick just one of these to really focus on this week, which one would you say really speaks to you? And remember, just like that cardboard box, we talked about these ideas, they're open-ended too.